there! Welcome back to our channel. I will talk about a movie called Into the Night today. Just a heads up, I'll be giving away some plot details, so be careful if you haven't seen it yet.
Maintenant.
Va te faire foutre. Ok.
Je vais compter jusqu'à 1.
Ok.
Il y a vraiment beaucoup de documents.
Ouais, bienvenue à l'OTAN. Et regarde, c'est ton peuple.
A guy named Terenzio is in a big rush at the Brussels airport. He's not late for a flight. Something else is up. He tries to get a ticket to the west, even though the next one is 2 hours away, but he buys it just to get to the other side of the airport. Then, in the airport, a famous person named Inez starts choking and passes out. It causes a lot of chaos, with people on TV collapsing too. Terenzio knows what's happening and takes a guard's gun. He threatens people on a plane going to Moscow. A fight in the cockpit with the co-pilot Mathieu getting hurt. A flight attendant named Gabrielle calms down scared passengers. Terenzio forces a retired helicopter pilot, Sylvie, to fly the plane. The plane has broken equipment, and they can't communicate with anyone. Terenzio tells everyone that the sun's rays are dangerous, even if you stay inside. He talks about cases in Japan and Korea. Mathieu and Sylvie think he's crazy. Despite that, Terenzio keeps saying it's a serious situation. Mathieu's hand is bleeding, and a nurse named Laura helps with a hot knife. Mathieu agrees to change the flight path to what Terenzio wants, hoping for help from fighter jets. He's scared passengers will get mad if they find out. Sylvie doubts they'll get help from outside. Ayaz starts to doubt what the pilot is saying about the sun, so he takes the gun from Terenzio, who's stuck in the airplane bathroom. Mathieu is given the job of finding out the truth. It turns out the plane is on its way to Iceland to arrest Terenzio. This news upsets the passengers, who remember strange things happening before the flight. They worry about their families. Mathieu becomes the pretend captain to calm everyone down. When the plane tries to land in Iceland, it's a mess on the ground. There are plane crashes and people in a panic. It becomes clear that Terenzio was right about the sun being dangerous. The runway is blocked, so they have to fly to Scotland because they're running out of fuel. Terenzio explains he heard about the sun being a threat and says they need to fly away from the sunrise to survive. Meanwhile, an Arab passenger who fainted earlier is struggling to breathe. In his last moments, he reveals he swallowed diamonds. Nurse Laura tries, but can't save a dying patient. When they emergency land in Scotland, Mathieu barely avoids crashing. Outside, they find out the world is in chaos because of deadly sunlight. Half the people are already dead, and the survivors are hiding in airports and dark places, hoping for safety. 3 RAF servicemen ask for help before sunrise. With only 45 minutes, they gather supplies and decide to fly west. Jakub, an aircraft engineer, steps back to keep everyone safe, even though he wants to save his pregnant wife. After getting fuel and taking off, they head to Canada to escape the sun. Later, the internet works again, and they get final messages from loved ones who died in Brussels. They found an article saying the sun's changes caused a disaster. Passenger Horst, a climate expert, said the sun's magnetic field flipped unexpectedly, sending harmful rays to Earth. They couldn't prove it, but they thought the scientists who wrote the article might have died. Ayaz discovered the RAF men they chose were terrorists. At the airport, one accidentally caused an old man's death. Passengers didn't like it. Sylvie told Mathieu, and they decided to leave the terrorists in Canada. It was 2 hours before sunrise when they landed, and some people were hurt by sunlight. The terrorists had to get radio parts. They agreed, but wanted Gabrielle and Jakub. Jakub trapped them, leaving Gabrielle. He made it to the airport, but the plane left without Gabrielle. The terrorists shot the plane's window, making a crack that wouldn't break at that altitude. Ayaz noticed a sick child, Dominic, but his mom, Zara, stopped him. A radio signal hinted at survivors in Hawaii. Mathieu wanted to go, but Sylvie thought it was risky. Terenzio was mad the captain decided everything. In the middle of a big talk, everyone agrees to use voting to make decisions, but suddenly alarms go off because something's wrong with the plane. Mathieu finds a terrorist hanging onto the outside of the plane, making it dangerous to land. To get rid of the terrorist, Mathieu goes higher, but a window breaks, causing chaos. They manage to get control back for a bit. Dominic has trouble breathing and his oxygen tube breaks. Ayaz quickly makes a new one from a pipe. Because of time, they change the plan and announce they're landing on an island called Attu in Alaska. The terrorist is still hanging on. Ayaz, Jakub, and Terenzio go to deal with him, and it's really dangerous. Ayaz saves the day, but then people find out he was involved in smuggling diamonds and was a con artist. They vote, and Ayaz ends up in trouble. The scene changes to Alaska, where the plane lands and gets ready to go again. Horst, a climatologist, realizes that fruits they picked up in Canada taste bad because of radiation. Mathieu is worried about food and wants to escape the sun. He has a hard time letting go of control until Sylvie helps. The passengers convince him to take a break. Later, they hear a radio signal about Stara 17, a cosmonaut in space talking to Earth. They plan to go to NATO headquarters in Brussels to get more information about a secret bunker. Terenzio helps, and they have 4 hours until sunrise after landing. Laura finds Mathieu unconscious in the bathroom with a bad infection in his hand. The infection is spreading, and they decide to cut off the infected part to save him. Laura offers to do the surgery in Brussels if they can get to a hospital. Sylvie, who knows how to fly a bit, is hesitant, but Horst encourages her to take charge. After watching videos on how to land a plane, Sylvie manages to land it safely, and everyone claps. They split into groups. Some guys refuel the plane. Zara, Laura, and their team take Mathieu to the hospital, and others go to NATO headquarters. The hospital is chaotic, but Laura focuses on saving Mathieu, and Zara gathers medicines for her son and others. At NATO headquarters, Riek finds a recording mentioning a bunker called Stara 17 under a dam in Bulgaria. Terenzio and Ayaz get into a fight, and Terenzio accidentally hurts Ayaz, who leaves. Riek sees Ayaz's injured body on a screen but is too scared to say anything. Half an hour before sunrise, they all get on the plane. Mathieu, who had surgery, joins them. Terenzio says Ayaz left, but just as they start the engines, Ayaz returns. Terenzio is handcuffed, and Sylvie warns them about the risk of running out of fuel if the plan in Bulgaria doesn't work. After the plane lands, everyone has just 20 minutes to get to the bunker. Ayaz, one of the passengers, has a short, uncontrollable shaking fit in the restroom, but keeps it to himself. When questioned about another passenger, Terenzio, Ayaz chooses not to say anything negative about him, even though it might mean Terenzio's death. The group splits into 2 cars, with Sylvie leading the first and Ayaz driving the second. While driving, Ayaz has another seizure, causing a car crash. The first car is too far ahead to catch up. Sylvie takes a right turn at an intersection and discovers a partially open gate that electrocutes anyone who touches it. Terenzio decides to wait for the others, ensuring his loyalty by being handcuffed. Sylvie and her group move through the gate. Meanwhile, Ayaz and the others take a left turn, finding a similar gate on the other side of a dam. They use clothes to climb over it and reach the entrance, eventually reuniting with Sylvie's group at the bunker, even though they took different routes. Inside the bunker, military personnel welcome the passengers and assure them they are now safe. Terenzio, left alone outside, asks God for forgiveness as the sun rises. In the end, he faces his fate and is also killed. To find out what happens to the remaining survivors, you'll have to wait for the next episode of this show.
Deux femmes contre 3 chambres.
Leave your comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe for more thought-provoking content and, as always, share this video with fellow film and series enthusiasts.